Hey YouTube, it's Elvis Ammo here. Hey, today I'm going to shoot my newly developed 155 grain supersonic, and we're gonna shoot these over to Crony, and then we're going to shoot a group. And if you like what you see, you can watch me load some. Did you like that? Okay, here we go. Okay, there's our target right there. Alright, so I mean that's basically just the best that I can do with a red dot. Alright, you know, if you want to see what here's a ruler. There's a 1.5 inches. You know, you can call it 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 group there. I mean that's basically just the best that I can do with the red dot. Now eventually, especially for my testing on this particular rifle, I'm gonna really need to put a you know, just a low power scope on it so that I can get, you know, make accurate shots and not blame it on the red dot. And I don't like doing that. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna show you the rest of the story as well. The reason I'm showing you this load today is because it's a new mold that I'm using and a new bullet. Now I've had this for a little while, and I put off developing a load for it because I was so happy with my 160 grain, and I call it my 160 grain, but it's really about 166 grain bullet. I've said that to you guys before, 165 grain bullet. Now this one is my new one that I'm loading. This is what we're going to load today, and you really want to see this load because I have really high hopes for this one. So for all of you, you know, some of you that may be frustrated with a load that you have, this could be a winner for you. So this is the mold right here. I don't need to really tell you what it is. You're looking at it. So that's my new mold. Well, I've had it for a little while, and I've not loaded it. So this is the bullet right here, and I'm using my now the ones that I fired was my blue powder. This one is my newest powder that I'd made up, and I powder coated a whole bunch of stuff with it. I really love it. This is my powder that I mixed. I just mixed the Ford light blue and the dark green from Eastwood, along with an equal part of Harbor Freight white, and I got this beautiful speck. And not only is it a really beautiful speck, but man, that is I don't know for sure, but it just seems like such a wonderful coat. I mean, this coat just seems so tough and so strong, and that's why I'm showing it to you. Anyway, not to mention, I mean, that stuff, it looks great. Here it is. I mean, take a look at that. I mean, this stuff coats really good, comes apart really good, hardly a speck on it anywhere, other than the specks that's supposed to be there, right? So I'm going to show you the rest of the story. Now this is these were some of my first shots on with this load. This was 50 yards, and again, that is excellent for me at 50 yards with a red dot. Okay, I just can't see very well with a red dot. Now I can hit, you know, I mean, I can hit my mark with it, but as far as pinpointing a bullseye, it's very tough for me, honestly. And I'll tell you what shots I have here. This one right here was my first shot, and that was a factory round. And then these were these rounds that I'm shooting right now, and this one right here was one that I'd mixed pure lead. I say pure lead. That's about 8.2 on the Burnell hardness scale. That's about as soft as I can make with what I have. And that would have been no different than this group here, except for I know for a fact that I was shooting lower trying to hit the target because I was shooting high, but there was no difference in my point, only my point of aim changed, but it would have been no different in how it hit my target. Okay, now with that said, I went out to 100 yards with this round, and I'm not proud of the group that I'm not proud of not hitting the target, I should say, but I wanted you to see, because I want you to understand that this round has a lot of potential. Well, it don't have a lot of potential. It's almost dead on accurate in my opinion, from what I've seen. Try to give that to you without a glare on it. But you can see this was a two-shot group, and the only reason it's not hitting the bullseye is because that's where I'm aiming. Alright, at 100 yards I can barely see this, to be honest with you. And then I tried to put some careful shots in after that, and I did manage to get it on the red. So my whole point here is, you know, that this is a good load, and I'm gonna, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna load up a bunch of these. This is going to go into my good loads to keep, to save, to shoot. So anyway, so what I've done, I kind of went around, you know, backwards trying to make this load, and instead of doing what I initially wanted to do to start with. And many of you know that I am shooting my other supersonic load that I'm shooting is I call it my 160 grain, but we all know that it's about 165 grains. All right, and that's this bullet right here. Was my other supersonic 160 grain mold, and I was getting that was 1650 feet per second with this one. All right, so my initial thought was just go ahead and with my new bullet and use the same overall length, which will give me a little more room in my case, and then add more of the 41, the IMR 4198. So after shooting a couple different types of powders and different things, I went ahead and finally did what I initially wanted to do to begin with, and it worked wonderful, and that's what you just seen. And we're getting, you know, you seen on the Crony it was 1729, 1750, 1733. Those are good numbers, and you know the spread on those rounds are really good, in particularly because I'm just using, you know, random range brass, cutting them off, flaring them, and nothing special as far as trying to, you know, make things consistent. So which means that this round, if you use consistent components, weigh your bullets, and make sure all your brass is measuring exactly the same as possible and all of that, you know the deal. But I didn't do that, so that's really good shooting with a really good chronograph reading. So you know I'm averaging, you know, 1720 or so, 1724 or so. I'm just going to call it 1725. 1725 feet per second on that round is what I'm just going to call it. What we're going to do now, so you seen my my targets. You know, I mean, I'm not hiding anything. You know, that's just the facts. You know, to me, you know, with the red dot, as good as I can see, I mean, I really just have to guess. You know, I just have to guess exactly where I'm shooting. Now that one right there was from 30 yards, by the way, 30 yards. All right, and so there you go. You seen 30 yards. You see the, well, let's compare. I know this is a big deal for a lot of you guys. Let's just compare 30 yards with 50 yards. Alright, I mean the group hasn't changed. Get that glare off. The group has not changed. Alright, at 50 or 30. Alright, and the only reason the 100 was off, I mean, you can see where, you know, two bullets were hitting, you know, just beside each other from 100 yards with a red dot is excellent for me. That's the best I could do. So anyway, so now what you want to know is how did I load these, and so this is the mold. This is my this is 155. I'm gonna call this the Z155s. The 300Z 155s, 300 blackout zombie killers, 155 grain. The next thing I wanted to show you real quick is this mold with this alloy that I'm using right here. Now I've done several kinds of alloys. I've done some really soft at, you know, the 8.2. I've done some, you know, I didn't even measure some of it. I think some of it 8.2, 15, and then another one that's about 22, something like that. Because we're going to include this round in a ballistic test in the ballistic gel. We're going to see, you know, if we can get some where the expansion comes in. The last one was the 50-50 round. It just mushroomed beautiful at 17 inches, and that's what we like. So we're going to include this, and in the last test that we done with the ballistic gel with the 223, we shot a 223 running at 2,500 feet per second versus a factory round, and the cast lead did a better job, if you guys remember. So we're going to do the same thing with this. We're going to test it against factory rounds and see what we got, because my hopes is this is going to be what I use for my hog hunt. All right, so that's kind of where I'm narrowing down to. So not only are we making ammo that can hit the target and you know, shooting straight and hard enough, but we're actually going to use it to hunt with. That's my goal with this round. So let me just show you, this is how it was dropping out of the mold. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. I'm only just about to tell you, I guess. You might be able to see that. That's 158.8, and I'm just randomly picking these up. 158.7, 159.2, 158.9. I mean, these are close. 158.9. I mean, they're pretty consistent. That's powder coated. 159 even. And I'm just grabbing these, you know. 159 even. That's what we're getting, you know, with this mold. And you know, it was consistent again, you know, with the other alloys. I just kind of randomly threw them on the scale. So now this round right here, we are going to load. These are the ones that I shot. These were 16. Well, let me just show you. Let me just show you the difference between the other bullet that I loaded. Okay. You can see the difference between these bullets. This one has the tumble lube grooves. That's my 160, and this is my 155. All right, and as you know, these bullets are weighing in around 159. Okay, instead of 155. So these are really, but I'm calling them my 155s. Okay, because that's what's on the box. Again, I don't want to confuse everybody. So so really they're only about 6 grains lighter. 6 grains lighter, but it afforded me quite a bit more space in my case. I'm gonna let you see the difference in the height of the bullet. Let me see. See the difference in the height of the bullet, if you can. Anyway, there's a little difference there. Let me put this bullet back. There's a little difference in the height of the bullet. So what I done was I was loading these other ones at 2.035. 2.035. The max I like them is 2.040. Yeah, 35 to 40. You know, so 5,000th play there works great. And it seems to it seems to, you know, function really well, you know, at that overall length. So I'm using the same powder, 4198, and I'm using instead of 16.2 grains in the other load, I'm using 16.8 grains of 4190 IMR 4198 in these new ones. All right, and I'm going, you know, from 1650 to 1725. So it's given me a considerable difference. Now, now the you know, bullet design, of course, has a little bit to do with it. I feel like this bullet, because it's not the tumble lube design as you've seen with the other one, that it's giving me a little bit higher pressure. It's making a better seal as it's going down the barrel. And I've tested quite a few things, and I have a little bit of experience that I'm using to make that comment with. But so there we go, and there's I just made a round up real quick, and I didn't crimp it or anything, and that's the bullet, and overall length is at 2.038. all right, so I'm just gonna make up a couple of rounds here. I just put the powder inside this powder measure right here, so let's see if it's let's just see if it's accurate enough. I set it at 16.8. So let's see what it does. Now this is a stick powder. Okay, give me 16.7. And for all you guys that, you know, are real finicky about your powder measures and stuff, with other powders that I've used in these cheapo powder measures, it's dead on, just about every time. So let's see, I'm going to do another one. I'm hoping it's going to go to 16.8. Okay, hit 16.9. Okay. You know, I mean, for most of us, that's real good. Let's try it again. 16.8, that's what I'm looking for. But guys, this is a stick powder inside this old cheapo powder measure. And you know, 16.8. Alright, so let's load up a couple of these. I'll let you see how I'm loading them. And but you know, this load that I'm developed here, I'm just really excited about it, you know. So let's go ahead and let's see what we got here. I want to, just because this is a new load, I'm trying to measure everything out perfect, you know. So that's 16.8. It just went back up to 16.9. I think it's at the, you can just about call it the high side of 16.8. And we'll go again. I really want it dead on 16.8, especially until I'm completely done testing them. 16.8. We'll keep that one. And I wanted you to see inside the case. This is how much space is left in the case. You can see that. See that? So, I mean, it is just above the neck. It is just above the neck, and this bullet seats, I want you to see how compact of a load, compressed of a load this is the reason I'm showing you this. This is, if I can make this, let me see what I'm doing here. Yep. Okay. So this this load, it's just barely below the neck. So it's what I call slightly compressed. The other load, because the bullet was a little bit longer, was not much more compressed than this. This is just a real light compressed load. Alright, so we'll go ahead and put a bullet on it, and let's check out one more. Let's see what the old cheapo powder measure can do for me again. Yeah, give me 16.7. This thing has been pretty darn consistent, though, I'll be honest with you. And this is, I could tell that it, you went to 16.9 on me. Okay, I'm going to give it another shot. I'm trying to impress you guys with my cheapo powder measure, but 16.8, there we go. Pretty dang good, wouldn't you say? So we'll go ahead and just load up a couple of them here. No sense in letting you see the same thing over and over again. So I put them in here. Now these are all these cases are just random brass, most of which has been cut off from 223 rounds and trimmed and flared. I took them out, I put them in the size them. I size them off the range, pretty much size them, decap them, and then they go in the tumbler, and take them out of there. And then I go ahead and flare them and put my primers in. And the good thing about this 300 blackout is the cases don't need as much maintenance. All right, they don't stretch as much, so you can go several times before you have to trim them again, which is a plus. So for all the work it takes if you're making your own brass from 223, look at it that way. You save a lot of time in trimming them afterwards. So a lot of upfront work, and you save some in the long run. So we're going to go ahead and seat this bullet. See where that went. I just set that. 2.035, that's perfect. That's exactly where I want it. That goes in there, and I didn't. I was just making sure I didn't already charge another case. All right, so here we go. So now we're going to go ahead. We got those seated, and I'm going to go ahead and crimp these, and then I wanted to show you the brass that I fired out there. All right, I wanted you to see the primers, and you can kind of detect for yourself, if the pressures look good for you. So on the crimp on these things, oh crap, I didn't I did not this is what happens when you're on YouTube. I didn't even seat that other bullet. So here we go, we're just going to crimp this one. I just put a decent positive crimp on it, and that's it. 2.035. I'm not going to change all that back out and show you, but I wanted you to see this round. I wanted you to know what I was using to make this round. I wanted you to see what it's doing over the chronograph and what it's doing at 30, 50, and 100 yards. And just check out my new bullet. Really excited about that. I'm in the process of having a, hopefully it's going to work out. I'm in the process of having a custom mold made for my 223. So that's something that'll be coming up eventually here whenever I get this thing figured out. But anyway, here's my cases. Here's my cases that I fired, and I'll let you. This is 16.8 grains of 4198, and I'll let you see all the primers on there. All the primers on there. As far as I'm concerned, there's room left over. So, but not that I want to. Not that I want to add any more power to it. 1725 for this round. That is just perfect for that size. My camera died on me. Anyway, YouTube. You know, it's not that I want to add any more powder to it or power to the bullet. It's all about, you know, making an accurate load. So go with accuracy first, you know, above trying to push the bullet. YouTube, I'll see you in the next video.